New information regarding the text messages and the 911 call has just been released by the state. This video is going to focus on the text messages. Let's go. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. Disclaimer. Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. As I stated, more information has been released. It seems like it's going to take a while to get caught up with all of the new documents that keep posting. Right now, I'm in the middle of getting all of the autism and neuropsychological information together. And right whenever I finished recording myself reading the main document that came out back on, I think it was the 17th, we had a few more documents drop. So by the time that one comes out, hopefully tomorrow morning, it will be in full with the most up-to-date information when it comes to his OCD, his autism disorder, and now this new thing that we're hearing about where he has dexterity issues. It's been an interesting read, to say the least. Now, the release of information regarding the 911 call and the text messages has been the biggest just flare up in people wanting to try to figure out what's actually going on here. And as usual, every time we get more information in this case, we have more and more questions. Now, again, we have more information pertaining to both, but what happened first, the text messages or the 911 call? The text messages. Let's get started. Now, again, this is a state's document. Comes now the state of Idaho by and through the Latell County prosecuting attorney and respectfully replies to defendant's objection to state's motion in limine regarding the text messages and testimony that was filed. I was right on the date, March 17th of 2025. Defendant includes additional records from Dylan and Bethany's phone for the court's review. However, using the records provided in the defendant's response does not change the Idaho Rules of Evidence Rule 801 and 803 analysis. Now remember, whenever the state first released the information, there was a lot that was very noticeably missing. Then the defense ended up releasing a lot, and that's how we found out that the driver also responded back to Dylan, and there was phone calls and stuff happening around like 7:30 in the morning. Now, what really annoys me about what I've seen skimming through these, they literally are trying to gaslight the shit out of us by claiming that there's a period of time in which they actually believe that the girls were asleep. But the way that they put the information in here, it's giving them like a 6-hour window instead of the 3-hour window that we know actually happened. We'll get to that, and I'll show the examples and the receipts as always when we get there. This is now what the state is telling us. The following phone records are from November 13th of 2022 between 2:10 a.m. and 4:37 a.m. Starting at 4:19 a.m., Dylan makes statements to Bethany regarding seeing an unknown male in the residence. The statements are immediately after she perceived this event. In addition, Dylan and Bethany are under the stress of excitement caused by this startling event or condition. So that's the state literally telling us there's stress of excitement happening because their adrenaline is pumping, because there's a startling event happening, yet no 911 call. Nada. Sorry, but no. Okay. Now they're going to be going over their little timeline once more. Now I'm going to have the link for the videos where we've gone over both the original information from the state and the more detailed information that we got from the defense prior to this. Again, those will be in the description box. 2:10 in the morning, Dylan to the Uber driver, which is Eric Gower, inquiring if he was driving, which again, he's also supposed to have been the one that would have just dropped off the girls 15-ish minutes prior to this. Okay, now the whole reason why they're even going back over these again is for the authority for admission, which is the reason why the state wants them admitted, because they're trying to fight the defense wanting them excluded. Now, honestly, I think that all of this should be in there regardless of anything, because let's be so serious. None of this points to anything. None of this points to anything. Nothing in these text messages and nothing in the 911 call points to the defendant. Let it be there. Let the jury see how ridiculous this entire thing is. Why not? So again, this is being submitted for hearsay or not, and they're arguing the fact that it's not hearsay. It's a matter of fact. There's receipts. It's not hearsay if it's not a statement, but an actual like event is how it's basically being interpreted. 2:10, Dylan to Eric, inquiring if he's driving. 3 minutes later, Eric to Dylan, confirming he was driving. At 2:53 in the morning, Maddie calls Bethany. Again, this is around the exact same time that her phone and Kaylee's phone are frantically back-to-back calling Jack Ducour's phone. At 3:51 in the morning, Dylan creates a new contact in her phone, which is hilarious considering that a previous document from the state says that she is claiming that she went to her room and went to sleep around 3:20 in the morning, but miraculously 31 minutes later she's adding somebody's number to her phone, but supposed to be so like out of it asleep 9 minutes later whenever the DoorDash shows up and all these things start happening that she's delirious and what she's interpreting happened. I'm sorry, but no, it doesn't add up. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. 4:19, Bethany calls Dylan. 4:20, Dylan calls Xana. 4:20, Dylan calls Kaylee. 4:20, Dylan calls Bethany, and they speak for 41 seconds. Now, if you notice, Bethany's initiating the action is in blue, Dylan's is in green. Bethany calls Xana. Dylan calls Maddie. 4:22, Bethany calls Ethan. 4:22, Dylan to Bethany. No one's answering. 4:22, Dylan to Bethany. I'm really confused right now. 4:22, Dylan to Kaylee. Kaylee. 4:22, Dylan to Kaylee. What's going on? 4:23, Bethany sends an outgoing Snapchat message. 4:23, Bethany to Dylan. Yeah, dude, WTF, what the F? Bethany to Dylan. Xana was wearing all black. 4:23, Dylan to Bethany. I'm freaking out right now. 4:23, Dylan to Bethany. No, it's like a ski mask almost. 4:23, Bethany to Dylan. Shut the F up. 4:23, Bethany to Dylan. Actually, 4:23, Dylan to Bethany. Like he had something over his head and like mouth. 4:24, Dylan to Bethany. Bethany, I'm not kidding. I'm so freaked out. Then why are you not calling 911 right freaking then and there? Why? 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 Bethany to Dylan, so am I. So then why are neither one of you choosing to call the freaking cops? Why? 4:24, Dylan to Bethany. Phone is going to die. F. 4:24, Bethany to Dylan. Come to my room, which would leave the impression that Bethany was in her room saying, come to me and meet me in my room where I am. That's the verbiage. That's what it means, in my opinion. Run, Bethany to Dylan. Bethany to Dylan, down here. Again, meaning come and meet me where I am, here where I am. Not go to my room, meaning I'm not there, go there anyway, but come to my room, meet me down here. A lot of people think they left. It's very possible that they left after this encounter. I'm not going to say that I don't believe that it's possible, because to me, it very much could be possible that they did take off. I'm going to say that the information when it comes to the make and model of the car that we've seen whenever there was photos from the camera at the house, the 1112 house, where it's sort of like going through the gate or whatever, and even whenever it's coming in, there's portions of that car that look a lot like a white car that was in the parking lot of King Road. So, I don't know, the timing's a bit off for it to have been the roommates leaving at 4:20 with her saying at 4:24, come to my room, come down here, but it's still, I know there's a lot of people that think it's very possible that they left. There's no actual proof that they left, but I do understand why some people might be theorizing that. I can definitely see it. 4:24, Dylan to Ethan. Again, they're calling everyone in the house. Do they not also like not hear the phones ringing? Like they're not being answered, but they're not hearing all these phones ringing as they're calling them and not wondering how come no one's reaching over and answering their phone, what's happening? Like this would be a 911 situation regardless. The fact that both girls decided together to not call the cops while everything is happening and they're feeling the way they're feeling, I can't believe there's people making excuses for this. It's wild to me. 4:24, Dylan to Bethany again. 4:25, Bethany to Dylan, meaning calls, I'm assuming. It's not saying that it's like a text message. It's just saying like to. But the crazy part is that normally whenever it says to, it's a text message. So maybe they're like redacting this portion, this text message for a reason, and there's something said here that they don't want us to see. That's the only other thing I can really think about that. 4:27, Dylan makes an outgoing call. 4:27, Dylan does an outgoing Snapchat. At 4:27, there's another outgoing Snapchat from Dylan. 4:27, Dylan calls Kaylee. 4:28, Dylan calls Xana. 4:29, Bethany calls Maddie. 4:30, Bethany calls Maddie. 4:30, Bethany calls Kaylee, and then again at 4:31, Bethany calls Kaylee. 4:32, Dylan sends a text to Kaylee. At 4:34, Bethany gets on Snapchat, and on 4:37, Bethany gets on Instagram. This is, yep, here it is right here. This is so pathetic, and I'm about to pop it up because I'm going to show y'all why it's pathetic, okay? Look at the gap right here, 4:37 in the morning, and then it says this. The state's evidence will show that Dylan and Bethany went to sleep after 4:30 in the morning. The state seeks to introduce the following phone records from the next morning from Dylan and Bethany. And look where it starts. Are they like stupid? Do they think that we're ignorant and didn't read the fact that at 7:30 in the morning, there's stuff happening, that at 8 o'clock in the morning, Bethany is calling her parents back to back, trying to get a hold of her mom, her dad, her parents' house, some other number, that Dylan is up and doing things on her phone on social media? Are you serious right now? So yes, they have the 4:37 Bethany gets on Instagram. But then they start their timeline all the way down here, forgetting that they've already released information on the defense side about what was really going on. 7:30, Bethany calls her dad. 8 o'clock, Bethany calls her dad. 8 o'clock, Bethany calls another number. 8:01, Bethany calls home. 8:02, Bethany calls her mom. At 8:09, Bethany's dad calls back. And at 8:05 to 10 o'clock, Dylan is on Instagram doing who knows what. At 8:41 and 8:42, Bethany takes photos. So the state is seriously sitting here and trying to just dismiss the fact that Bethany took photos before this 10:23 time frame, that there was hours before the roommates were apparently even checked on, according to this information. We don't see them trying to get back a hold of the roommates until after 10 o'clock at the 10:23 point, whenever messages start going back and forth. But this is also around the time that we have Dylan on Snapchat, Dylan on Instagram. Dylan doesn't even text Maddie until 10:23, which is exactly the same thing that this one states right here. Dylan texts Maddie, "Are you up at 10:23?" Why is the state ignoring all of the rest of this information right here? Like we haven't already seen it. That's some gaslighting ass shit if I've ever seen it. So again, they started at 10:23, Dylan to Maddie, "Are you up?" And then a whole hour later, 11:29, Dylan to Kaylee, "Are you up?" Which is again not how it played out. Then 11:49, Bethany phone call to JM. Again, there's been some sort of speculation on who this person is. There's 3 names out there. One of them seems most likely the one. And then at 11:56 a.m., Bethany's phone calls 911. And again, they're like, look at all the rest of this stuff in between that. Text messages, phone calls, Yik Yak, TikTok, Indeed, Instagram, phone calls and text messages to all kinds of people. It's hilarious that the state is just like acting like all those hours of time didn't happen. It goes on to say, the above record is not hearsay. These records do not need to be analyzed, applying the present sense impression or excited utterance exception of IRE 803. Also, other communications and interactions on social media during this time frame is irrelevant for the purposes of this court making an admissibility determination. Regarding Dylan and Bethany's other communications, defendant will have the opportunity to cross-examine them at trial. Well, if anything, that just proved that for a fact they gonna be on that stand. The state respectfully requests the court's approval in limine for admission of the above described phone records of Dylan and Bethany and any statements made between Dylan and Bethany prior to approximately 4:37 a.m. on November 13th of 2022. No, we need all of it. So the state's saying everything after 4:37 a.m. doesn't matter. Her Bethany calling her mom and her dad and all the stuff going on with Dylan doesn't even freaking matter. The only thing that they want admitted into court is 4:37 and prior. Oh my God. If Hitler allows this, I'm going to scream. But that's it for the text message information so far, you guys. By the time this one's posted, I'll hopefully be editing the one for the 911 call, so keep your eyes out for that one. I'm going to try to do these in like separate subjects so that it makes it a lot easier to like digest, so things don't get misconstrued, misinterpreted. Let me know if you like it shorter like this, more subject based. I feel like it's a lot better. Again, the 911 call one is coming up next. Let me know how you guys are feeling about how the state's trying to pull some boo-boo about not allowing the entire timeline of all of the stuff the roommates were doing in to the courtroom at trial. 4:37 and prior. The dog is still barking at that point. Are we serious? Again, let me know how you guys are feeling about it down in the comments. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. And please don't forget to make sure that that notification bell is set to all so you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives. See y'all.